Welcome back in, everybody.
What?
The Chris Mathis podcast, TCM Pod, after missing, I guess, 8 or 9 days since we've released our last episode. For good reason. What was that?
For no reason.
For no reason, man. Oh,
Yeah.
man, I like to think I had a good reason. I took off. I'm in Tampa right now. Took a move, work for iHeartRadio in Tampa Bay. A dream opportunity here, and really cool shot to be a producer there at iHeartRadio Tampa Bay, and I'm very thankful for that. So that's kind of been the reasoning for a delay in posting shows, podcasts, but we are back. The podcast, TCM Pod, lives on. Glad to be back with you guys. Feels good to be back on the show again to talk sports with Spence. And I guess the last thing we did was we talked to Pat Donovan, a radio host with 95.3 WDAE of the Pat and Aaron Show. That was a lot of fun. And then here I am producing his show starting, I guess, this past Tuesday was my first day. So really cool stuff. Everything kind of comes full circle in life if you work for it and, work hard at it. So really cool opportunity for myself down here in Tampa, but glad to be back here with you guys on the podcast. And I know that neither Spencer or I are big NBA basketball fans, or I wouldn't say fans, but we don't follow too much. But now that football's over with, we do have to follow a good bit. And I did watch that NBA All-Star game on Sunday. I thought it was pretty entertaining in the second half, more importantly, or more specifically, the fourth quarter. But, the first half was pretty boring until I was pointed out from a friend that after each quarter, they give the winning team $100,000, and they kind of take that money and give it to their foundation of their choice. So that was pretty cool. That was my first takeaway from the NBA All-Star game. Spence, were you able to watch the All-Star game, or like most people, did you go and check and watch highlights on Twitter? Because Steph Curry, LeBron James, big-time players in that NBA All-Star game.
I tuned in the fourth quarter just before LeBron hit the game-winning shot with like a minute left, so I missed most of it. But yeah, after Eli pointed out that after each quarter, the winning team gives $100,000 to their charity of choice, that was pretty interesting. So I like that they do that. I think that all-star games in general and pro sports are falling to the wayside at the moment. The only one that really appeals to me is the MLB All-Star game because it's in the middle of the season. And I mean, I get that going to the Pro Bowl helps strengthen your I guess,
credibility
to make the Hall of Fame, which is a big thing. So it's basically just a vote for the NFL. It's not really, you just make the Pro Bowl, you strengthen your Hall of Fame chances. But in baseball, it seems like they actually play because you can't fake hitting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I mean, it's going to be a lot more entertaining than watching two-hand touch football or basketball that doesn't matter till the end of the quarter. But I think the way that the NBA is not bad. It's probably top 3. I would put baseball and hockey just ahead of it. I think hockey's got a pretty good All-Star game. But other than that, yeah, the NBA All-Star game, I'll tune into it a little bit more next year as well after hearing they do the charity thing. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then watching LeBron hit that game-winning shot brought me back to watching LeBron with the Heat in 2010. Like it was a very prime LeBron shot to win the game.
No doubt, and it was in Cleveland too. So
yeah.
Although LeBron currently plays for the Lakers and things are going south for the Lakers right now, very inconsistent this year, they do obviously love LeBron. Well, some hate him. It's a love-hate relationship with LeBron, but he did bring them a championship a few years back, and everybody was excited about that. And he said after he won that NBA Finals game a few years ago, he said, "Cleveland, this is for you." Well, here's the shot that you're referencing, Spence, from that NBA All-Star game in which LeBron hit the game winner, scored the 163rd point. That's right, NBA All-Star game. It's not necessarily a timetable. You're not under a time constraint with the game. You're really just trying to hit a certain point total. And at the end of the game, 163 wins it. Team LeBron did that. With this shot, LeBron James won the game.
Let's do it. Cleveland. Let's do it, Cleveland. Cleveland. This is for you. That's a winner.
So that was pretty neat to see. Like you said, you tuned in the last couple of seconds or minute of that game, and you got to see that shot. But before that, the first half, I was kind of in and out of the game. just because there's no defense. And I know the NBA right now as a whole, there isn't much defense, but the All-Star game, it was like create a player on 2K and just lob it up to your teammate, lob it up to your best friend, which is cool, but there's no real competitive nature to it. It's just, hey, put on a human highlight reel. And that's what they did. But the final, I guess, 7 or 8 minutes of that fourth quarter was pretty good. And that really won the game there. I guess that not won the game, but that definitely made everybody tune in because it was a close game. Steph Curry was red hot at the time and was about to keep hitting some more shots. Defense stepped up at that point because they didn't want Steph Curry to hit every shot from, all over God's green earth. So,
the NBA All-Star game to me is like watching your friend play NBA 2K My Career on rookie mode. I mean, it's interesting to watch for a little bit, but after some time of just watching no defense and 3 balls just being uncontested, dunking with no defense at all, it gets bad. But I thought that the game was good. Going back to what you said about how Cavalier fans hate LeBron for some reason, I think that burning LeBron's jersey is about as stupid as whenever people were burning Nike socks for Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the anthem. I think that those two things are like two of the dumbest things that we've seen in sports. But burning LeBron's jersey after all I did for the Cavaliers and then eventually coming back, I just think that was a stupid move by Cavalier fans. But watching LeBron in Cleveland hit the game-winning shot at 163 was very interesting. I don't know who his charity is, so we'll see who we gave that money to. But yeah, very, very fun way to end the All-Star game, considering that the game itself as a whole is not the most fun to watch.
And again, it is better than the NFL Pro Bowl.
The NFL Pro Bowl is the absolute worst. I bet, I don't know, I feel like a college Division III basketball, women's basketball All-Star game would be more interesting than watching the Pro Bowl. But the Pro Bowl Skills Showdown is actually pretty fun to watch through Twitter. Same thing with the NBA All-Star game. I was watching most of that through Twitter, just watching Steph Curry drain a bunch of threes. But yeah, I mean, the NFL Pro Bowl is awful.
Yeah, and as you said, the best All-Star game, Major League Baseball, you can't fake hitting a 100-mile-per-hour fastball or throwing a nasty slider or curveball to strike out the best player in baseball, like a Mike Trout or something like that. So,
and the thing with the NHL and the MLB All-Star games is that those are mid-season, so there's an incentive to watch it. With the NBA, I mean, it is kind of mid-season, but they're not trying. With the NFL, it's at the end of the season, so no one cares at all. The really good players are going to the Super Bowl at that point. I mean, Brady throughout his entire career only played in 2 Pro Bowls, so that basically shows just how uninterested players are. Even whenever he wasn't making the Super Bowl for a 10-year run where they didn't win a Super Bowl, he still wasn't going to the Pro Bowl, even though he was a Pro Bowl caliber player, because no one really cared about the Pro Bowl. And now that there's basically no tackling in it, no one wants to even play in that game at all. I mean, the skill showdown is what they go for.
Yeah, and you and I are both football fans, huge NFL fans, diehard Buccaneer fans, but I didn't even watch the Pro Bowl. I saw it on Twitter.
Nope.
We referenced on a podcast 2 weeks ago about Mac Jones breaking off a 70-something yard run and didn't score, but untouched.
Yeah.
It's just unreal. But flashing back now to current games or something that we can pick and choose from regarding a player of the week. My player of the week was Steph Curry, as you mentioned there in that NBA All-Star game on Sunday. Unreal game. I know that you can't really fake a shot from 45 feet out. You can't really, not necessarily fake, but you can't really imitate that. Anybody can't do that, even if there is no defense. So I will give Steph Curry some credit there. I thought that was really cool. He hit 16 three-pointers in that All-Star game, 50 points. Steph Curry went off there in that All-Star game, got player of the game, and also scored the most 3 balls in one half in NBA All-Star game history with 8. So Steph Curry was fun to watch, and he was the one guy that I could watch and think, okay, nobody can play defense on him anyways. So this All-Star layout is not really affecting what I think about Steph Curry's shots.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fake steak. It's the Longhorn saying, you can't fake a three-pointer, you can't fake a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but you can for sure fake trying to attempt to tackle a player. So the NBA All-Star game, whenever there's shooting involved, like Steph Curry hitting the most three-pointers in a half or whatever he's doing because he's one of the best shooters that we're ever going to see, that's always fun to watch. But my player of the week comes from the NHL, where they actually played real games this week. Elias Lindholm of the Calgary Flames, who are a top 4 team in the NHL this year. They've got an opportunity to go all the way to the Cup. In his previous 5 games, he scored 6 goals for Calgary and had a total of 15 points in 5 games. So he absolutely killed it. The NHL is heating up. Whenever hockey playoffs start in a couple of months, about 2 months from now, you've got to tune in. It's definitely, I would say it's the best pro sports playoffs. Even people that don't enjoy hockey, watching a Game 7 elimination game is one of the most fun things you can watch at the end of that game, like the third period. A lot of those games go into overtime. There's no shootout in playoff hockey, so it's just the games can go on for as long as possible if no one scores a goal. So I think it's the most fun to watch out of any of the pro playoff sports. So my player of the week, Elias Lindholm of the Calgary Flames. He had an absolutely insane week, and I think they have the third best odds to win the Stanley Cup ahead of the Lightning right now. So Calgary is a team to watch out for, and this dude's having a great season.
Also, if you guys don't necessarily watch hockey, you need to. And I think that also the cool fact about the 7-game series, the finals, the playoff setup for hockey is pretty cool because, the first 6 games or first 3 games before that elimination game, nobody shakes hands. You just don't want to. And then that 7th game or that elimination game, they own up to it and say, hey, you know what? Great game. You guys played great. You earned that win. We'll see you next year. I respect
hockey handshakes at the end of the game are the absolute best. I think it's the best tradition in all of sports. So I love watching that. Baseball comes close with after a series where they're doing their handshakes, but hockey handshakes, just watching the players acknowledge how good the team that won is always the best in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, hockey, we're going to talk a little bit more on here, not only moving forward, but later on in the show as well, as we will be talking about the upcoming Lightning game against the Nashville Predators. But one guy that doesn't like handshakes or doesn't appreciate handshakes is my stooge of the week. It's Juwan Howard, head coach of the Michigan Wolverines men's basketball team. And I think you set me up there perfectly. So if any of you guys missed out on this, which if you did, you need to really follow up on sports. If not, we've got you right here with a quick clip from Juwan Howard, head coach of the Michigan Wolverine basketball program, and his swipe at a assistant personnel coach for Wisconsin.
Juwan Howard not going over immediately to shake hands. Now he's going to get in the line. Interesting finish here, 77. Oh, see, and they're going at it. Howard and Guard are not happy right now as the two of them continue to have words. We told you Juwan Howard was not happy about that timeout. And Juwan Howard just threw a right hand.
So unreal. Again, for any coach at any level, much less a head coach of a college basketball team, I can only imagine how that affects parents that were considering, their kid going to school there to play basketball for the Michigan Wolverines. And I think that he definitely just hurt their recruiting trail.
Oh, yeah.
And he's my stooge of the week, Juwan Howard.
Yeah, that's a great stooge of the week. My stooge of the week goes to a man who runs an entire country named Vladimir Putin, who invaded Ukraine earlier this week on Wednesday night while I was finishing one of my papers. I thought to myself, should I even try to finish this paper? Is it really going to matter whenever Putin invaded Ukraine, which we haven't seen an invasion to this scale since 1940 Europe. I mean, this is crazy. We're living in crazy times right now. So I think that Vladimir Putin deserves to be the stooge of the week for this week, just because it's 2022. I mean, you think as a society that we're past going to war, but it goes to show you that history is always going to repeat itself, and we're just going to continue to keep going forever just because one man's decision who's unstable decides to invade a country for no reason. I mean, it's stupid. He deserves stooge of the week. Yeah, Vladimir Putin is the stooge of the week for me. Consensus for America.
Again, a very crazy time that we're in right now. Obviously, one thing that kind of came out of this, a sports story, a sad story, is that Hall of Fame boxer brother, Ukrainian boxer Vitaly Klitschko said that he will take arms to fight for his country as Russia attacks his homeland. Did you see that?
No, but I did see a reporter asked Alex Ovechkin about it, who has been a supporter of Putin over the past couple of years, and he said even he himself said that Vladimir Putin was being stupid, and that he thought that we were past the war stage in 2022, but this proves that we're not. So yeah, I don't know about the boxer guy, but that's very interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. And he said, you know what? It doesn't matter that, I was a big time Hall of Fame boxer, this or that. I'm 50 years old. Obviously, his career's behind him. But he says, I will fight for my country where, somebody like that with that type of leeway, I guess I could say that type of standard or how people view him.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Dip out.
That's incredible. I mean, if the U.S. eventually goes to war, hopefully we get to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson lead us in. I think he's one of our top creatures on this planet, especially in America. So if we have The Rock on our side, I think we're good.
And we're going to talk more about The Rock here lately as some news came out earlier this week regarding The Rock and his XFL with a collaboration with the NFL. We'll talk about that here momentarily. But another thing that's been big topic, obviously Major League Baseball, the lockout. No real progress with the meetings with Major League Baseball, and people are kind of down. I think that they have to have a decision made by Tuesday.
Yeah, and if they don't, then spring training gets pushed back further. We're in jeopardy at the moment of losing a couple of weeks of baseball this year. I think they're definitely going to – there's no way, in my opinion, that they play 162. Apparently, Rob Manfred, who's the man of baseball, has not been to a meeting sitting with like the top of the MLB chair. Like, he has not been in a meeting since last March. So March 2021. So there's no progress being made. I don't think there will be. So I think we're going to see another shortened season like we did during the COVID year.
And what's the issue here? They're not okay with the money, the dollar amount?
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And so if they don't have the season start back on time, obviously you're going to have a very short and sweet spring training, which is really important for players, especially pitchers that have to stretch out their arms and be able to throw for 6.5, 6 2/3, 7, 8 innings. And
I mean, to be fair, the spring training isn't as important as it used to be when every single pitcher would go 9 innings. But, I mean, I think it's still important. But the main thing for me is just losing any bit of the season. I don't want to lose the season because I'm going to be pretty interested in baseball this year. The Rays have got a great team. The Braves just won the World Series. They'll be fun to watch. I've got a Braves hat. If the Rays suck, I'll cheer for the Braves. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, the Rays have had 2 seriously good years over the last 2 seasons. World Series appearance 2 years ago. Deep playoff run this past year. And I've got a Rays hat on. You've got a Rays hat on if people can't tell. But continuing with the baseball situation and guys that want more money or kind of depict how it is to be a professional baseball player, but not a big-time baseball player, not a superstar. If you're stuck in the minor leagues for quite some time, you have a very unusual situation.
Almost all are. If you're not like a top draft pick, if you're drafted past round 3, you're stuck in the minor leagues for 6 years. Some guys go 15 years in the minor leagues, get one curtain call. They get to play one game in the MLB, get sent back down, they're done. So just the way that baseball works, like within the MLB, that you have to go through the minor leagues, single A, high single A, double A, triple A. You just gotta be perfect in every single game that you play as a minor leaguer. And you're dealing with these conditions that you're about to bring up. So I mean, it's very difficult to make the major leagues. It's not like how easy it is in MLB The Show, which comes out in a month. I'm excited for that.
I think that even pretty decent minor league baseball players, AAA level, they make the majority of them make under $50,000 per year, if I'm not mistaken, per season.
Yeah,
I would have never guessed that. I thought they would probably get $300,000 a year, which is a lot for the average Joe, the average American. $300,000, but when you hear the number of what it truly is, you're making under $50,000 unless you're some big superstar in the minors, number 1 overall pick. You're pretty much irrelevant. You're just an average guy playing baseball for fun, which you're happy about, but you're not getting paid.
Yeah, and you're on the road. Money. You're on the road 24/7. You live in the shittiest of conditions. I mean, you got to feel for these guys.
And here's an example of living in unusual situations, playing baseball, the game that they love, so they do weigh that option. They know what they sign up for, but maybe not. Here's Jack Kruger, who took it to Twitter. He's about to start his 7th season in the minor leagues. Here's his firsthand experience, and I'm reading from Twitter right now as we speak. He says this is not political. He wasn't here to convince anybody during these tweets, during this thread of tweets, but he says that these are things that he faced throughout his career so far. 6 years in the minors, going to be his 7th season right now. After being drafted in 2016, he went to rookie ball, 12-hour bus rides through the night, more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches than you can believe. I'm living that life right now. Long days at the park, made $480 every 2 weeks. That's crazy. No pay in the offseason. So right there, just that first tweet, $480 every 2 weeks, no pay once baseball season's over with. You can't make, ends meet with that money.
No.
So he got drafted 2016. In 2017, he lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 other guys. 2-bedroom apartment. Unfurnished apartment. Slept on air mattresses, which again, he's definitely, like anybody, they're thankful they have a roof over their head, but he's painting the picture here for you guys that think that all professional baseball players make a lot of money. They're overpaid. Not the case. 2 guys in each room, 2 guys in the living room, 1 guy slept in the kitchen. And then he also says that he started off last season in AAA. So it wasn't like he was single A or low A baseball. He was a decent prospect in AAA, the highest of high before the major league call, the curtain call, as you called it a few minutes ago, as a 2-time minor league all-star who was just 1 level below the major league baseball level and was only making $12,000 per year.
Yeah, that's
and then he continues. This is Jack Kruger, who plays for the Texas Rangers organization. Freddie's brother? Yeah. And he also says that after this year, it'll be the first time in his career that he'll be a free agent. So he goes from making $12 grand a year to now being a free agent, making no money. If he makes it to the big leagues, he'll have to play another 6 years in the big leagues before he gets a major league or before he becomes a major league free agent. He says he's been lucky enough to be in the major league spring training every year since he was drafted. So that's definitely fortunate. At least teams see him. One of his favorite parts, he says, the money, $1,500 per week and meal money. So he says, think of his reaction after making $1,000 a month the previous season to now getting $1,500 a week and meal money, I think is what he was saying.
Yeah.
Tweet spacing was a little confusing. Again, Jack Kruger, who's a minor league baseball player for the Texas Rangers, unfolds with what really goes down for a minor league baseball player. He said he had teammates that are homeless. He's had teammates skip numerous meals, had teammates get caught up and down more than 20 times in 1 year. He's missed weddings. He's missed events. Besides the signing bonus, he's made very little money throughout his 7-year Major League Baseball career or minor league baseball career. It's professional baseball. But he says he chose this life. He's not complaining. He just says that at any point I could have left this opportunity and moved on, but that would have thrown away 20 plus years of grinding, working hard, becoming skilled in one rare profession, a Major League Baseball player or hopeful Major League Baseball player. He says, does professional baseball need reform? Probably, but that's not my point. My point is that you guys have to be working, 3 jobs in addition to training. Guys who are homeless, guys who can't support their families. Just remember, not all pro baseball players are millionaires. So great stuff there from Jack Kruger, who's been in the minor league system, as you said, for years and has kind of been in that trap of, hey, he hasn't got his call. It's been 7 years in the minor league baseball system. He is at the highest of highs, AAA baseball. But again, he's going to be a free agent after this year. So,
yeah, I mean, you're living on the road. You're getting paid not great. You're playing baseball. You're practicing to play baseball the entirety of the year. You're playing for half the year. You're only getting paid for half the year. So, I mean, it's a bad situation for baseball players. And then once they make the major leagues, they don't get to negotiate a new contract until they're in the league for 6 years, which is very difficult because it's just so hard to make the major league and then avoid an injury. If you get injured, you get sent back down all the way to maybe single A. You got to rehab your way back up. It's got to be very difficult to make the major leagues. Probably the most difficult of any of the big 3 or 4 sports.
Yeah, no doubt. I hate to be a yes man, but I mean, when you think about it, their lifestyle, their income they bring in every year, not even, feasible to try to survive off of, especially, when you think about it. He says during the off season, no money. During the off season, they're still training at all times. They're still putting in the work as if they're in season. They're just not throwing every day in a game or, dressing out every day for a game. So they still put in that work ethic. They still eat right. They still have to eat healthy. When you think about that alone, having to pay for expensive, healthy, nutritional foods, stuff that they can use to bulk up on, proteins, everything of that nature, going to work out, it all stacks up. And then on top of that, having to maybe take care of their wife or their girlfriend, or they have a kid. I mean, it seems impossible to do. So if anybody does that and makes it, it's just it makes that really cool Cinderella story of that minor leaguer that's played 8 years in the minors. It gets pulled up for even one game to throw one inning. That much more cool after you know all these facts, the stats behind that process of having just a shot to get pulled up.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very difficult.
Now, one thing that we like to talk about each and every week, one thing that will not change, is our shout out of information on demand as they bring you guys our big 3, the biggest 3 topics, the 3 topics that we want to talk about in today's podcast that are most relevant right now at the time of this recording. Information on Demand brings you the big 3. Information on Demand pre-employment screening services, offering fast, accurate, affordable background screening services, whether you need criminal background checks, drug screenings, E-Verify, academic accreditations, or other screening services. They've got you covered. You can rest easy knowing a highly trained search team will get you the information you need in just 8 hours or less. That's right, 8 hours or less, one night's sleep. If you get good sleep, hopefully you do. Information on demand. They're fast. That's 1. They're accurate. That's 2. And affordable pre-employment background screening services. That's 3 things that stick out. That's why they bring you the big 3. Give Information on Demand a call at 855-914-4636, 855-914-4636, or visit informationondemand.net. And with that, first topic, first bullet point, hockey. The Tampa Bay Lightning playing Nashville on Saturday this weekend, the 26th of February, in the Stadium Series matchup at Nissan Stadium, the home of the Tennessee Titans football team, where they hold 76 to 80,000 fans. They are playing an outdoor hockey game in Nashville at the NFL Tennessee Titans Stadium.
Yeah.
The Predators host the Lightning. Great teams, great matchup there. A lot of fun. I actually got to see the Predators play a few years back in Nashville, not at the outdoor stadium, not at Nissan Stadium, but at Bridgestone Arena, their indoor hockey stadium. And I would have paid triple my ticket just to go see the Predators play outdoor, because this is insane. I don't know if they do this more than once in a hockey season.
No, just once.
So this is the only game in the National Hockey League this year that they're doing this. The only 2 teams that get to do this. Huge stuff. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, 2 consecutive Stanley Cup winners, looking for their 3rd straight, a 3-peat. Can they do that this year? If you guys do not follow hockey, I think this is the game 100% that you can tune in, watch it, be impressed, and then after this game, you think, you know what, hockey's pretty cool. We'll follow it. And then you guys can keep up with TCM Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, in order to follow our hockey coverage right here in the podcast. But got to be a lot of fun to witness that, not in person, but on television. And again, I'm in Tampa right now. Big market. Tampa Bay Lightning are playing in this game. So been a lot of coverage here with the news stations, with broadcasting, with radio, sports talk radio regarding this matchup. And even if you weigh out the records of these 2 teams, the success of these 2 teams, and you just look at, hey, outdoor hockey, the most fun sport to watch on television, hands down, and you do it outside. And it's 30-something degrees as of the recording of the show in Nashville right now. So it is cold enough. Obviously, they couldn't do this game in Tampa, at least not yet. They'd have to find some ways to make it work, maybe do it right as soon as it gets colder down here, and then very late at night. But either way, a very cool matchup, and I think that it's going to be fun to watch for anybody, even if you don't follow hockey.
Yeah, I'm sure in about 100 years we'll be able to play outdoor hockey in Tampa with global warming. But Yeah, this is very interesting to watch. I mean, every single year I watch the outdoor game. This year I'm lucky enough to be a Lightning fan, so I'm going to get to cheer for one of the team wearing blue. It's going to be a very fun game. If I were you, I'd tune in. You don't even have to follow hockey like to a T until the playoffs. But once the playoffs start, pick a team, stick with that team, and watch them go 7 games each series.
Again, this game will be on TNT Saturday, February 25th. So, I mean, literally the time that you guys are watching this, the game will be on tonight. And it starts 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. But it's 6:30 puck drop their time in Nashville. So, going to be a lot of fun there to watch that game. And again, this is the one hockey game, unless you guys are fans of the Stanley Cup, which I hope you are. But if you've never watched the Stanley Cup or failed to do so, regularly, this is the game that you have to watch this year. Tampa Bay Lightning, Nashville Predators outdoor game at an NFL stadium. 70-something thousand fans are going to be there. And it's just going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. I cannot wait.
Now, something that's been up in the news as of late, moving on to the next topic, there's been a lot of discussion about a Tom Brady fallout with the Buccaneers, and there was a report that came out late last week, early this week, about Tom Brady, Bruce Arians butting heads, and it came from this guy, Rich Ohrnberger, who played in the NFL for some time, played with Tom Brady for a little bit of time. So you got to give him, a little bit of leeway there, thinking, okay, maybe he has some connections. But he says, I heard some interesting things recently that Tom Brady, Bruce Arians' honeymoon was over in Tampa. The retirement announcement wasn't because of the trouble seeing eye to eye, but the relationship was souring. Then he goes on to say, apparently Arians was rehabbing the Achilles in the early mornings. Offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, who was a hot commodity in the head coaching extravaganza this offseason. Fortunately, Tampa did retain him. I'm surprised the Jaguars did not sign Byron Leftwich, but supposedly OC Byron Leftwich and Brady would work on the game plan each week while Bruce Arians was rehabbing his ACL tear, right?
Yeah, Achilles
tear, yeah. And so after they would supposedly meet, Arians would show up, look over the game plan, and cross out in red pen. This is what they're saying. Rich Ohrnberger saying with this report, supposed news, that he would cross out Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich, his offensive coordinators, game plan, which I think is ridiculous, number one, because it's Tom Brady. Even if they do butt heads on occasion, it's normal. It's a job. But it's his guy. His offensive coordinator is the guy that he brought on to be his guy. They both see eye to eye. Bruce Arians has promoted his offense and defensive coordinators for years, saying, hey, if there's ever an opportunity, you go take it. If there's ever a shot for you to go be a head coach, please go take it. And for them to say that Bruce would go check out the game plan, offensive game plan every week, and cross out the game plan from his own guy, That's ridiculous. There's no way.
I'm sure this is how it really went. I'm sure there's some truth behind that because Bruce Arians and Brady both are wildly different in the way they want to run the offense. I mean, Brady loves check downs and then the occasional deep pass on a play action. Bruce Arians wants to go deep almost every single play. So I'm sure that they had to come to terms before each game to figure out what offense they were going to actually run during the game. But I could see this being somewhat true because Leftwich definitely would listen to Brady. I mean, last year after the bye week for the Bucs, they really switched to like a Tom Brady type of offense from Bruce Arians' offense because Brady was struggling last year before they switched to this. So I think that there is some truth behind that, but I don't know if it was big enough for this to cause Brady's retirement. I think Brady retired because the Bucs are not going to be as good next year. They're going to lose some players, and he doesn't want to play anymore. I don't think he's going to be coming back.
I don't either. And there's a lot of people that think, oh, he's going to come back, play for the 49ers. That would be cool just because I want to see the guy continue to play football, but it's not going to happen.
There's no shot. They've got Trey Lance. I don't think so. Jimmy G's gone from the Niners, but they're not going to get Brady.
So the same reporter that supposedly broke this breaking news about Tom Brady, his head coach, Bruce Arians, and the Buccaneer offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, also came out and said that Patrick Mahomes allegedly had to sit down with his brother and fiance saying, hey, stay away from the game because you're bad for my brand. Now, there was something during a basketball game. It might have been the All-Star game.
No, it was just it was a random basketball game.
Random basketball game. And Pat Mahomes looked to his wife or his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Or his fiance, in between girlfriend and wife, and said, hey, get rid of that resting bitch face, the RBF. And you could see it clear as day that that's what he said. So I'm not sure if this triggered this come up story from Rich Ornberger to come up with this breaking news that Pat Mahomes told his brother Jackson and his fiance to stay away from the games because you're bad for my brand, which truly they are bad for the brand.
Yeah.
At least Jackson. Jackson is by far bad for the brand. As we've mentioned months ago on the podcast, Sean Taylor retirement day, he's standing on Sean Taylor's number on the sidelines. He's dancing, he's doing his thing as they're doing the retirement. He crossed over the retirement sectioned off for him, that area sectioned off for Sean Taylor's family with the Washington football team. The guy is just, I don't know. He's called out fans. He's thrown water at fans at games.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jackson Mahomes not a.
I mean,
I don't think
if this story is fake and Patrick Mahomes did not have a sit down with his fiance and his brother, he needs to make this story true because he definitely needs to. I mean, those two are really ruining Patrick Mahomes' name all over social media. People are making fun of him every day for the person he's dating and his brother that he has. I mean, I kind of feel bad for Mahomes because he has to deal with just the exterior outside of the game, which is in his own family. So he has to deal with this every single day. So it's got to be difficult for him. He definitely needs to have a sit down with these two.
And it looks like he doesn't really care. He looks so nonchalant when it's going on. I did see a clip a few years ago where Jackson was doing something and Pat's just chilling out there like, you're not impressing me at all. You're not amusing. But other than that, it seems like Pat is somewhat okay. He's not going to go out and crucify his family, which on one extent I get. You don't really want people to dictate how you live your life, how your loved ones live their lives. But on the other hand, they go way too far. They take it way too far. They're involved. They're bringing the attention to Pat Mahomes when Pat doesn't want that type of attention.
Yeah.
Continuing with the big three here on TCM Pod, we saw Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson during the Super Bowl hype up, introduce all the fans at the stadium there, SoFi Stadium, for the Super Bowl and the Rams and the Bengals. Well, he introduced everybody. And I'm not sure at the time that this collaboration, this agreement had happened, but there's a partnership now with the NFL and the XFL. And they're going to be working here with testing out rules, equipment, and officiating for the NFL. And Spence, I know you did a little bit more research with that than I did. So from what you know, enlighten our listeners regarding Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's XFL and, of course, Roger Goodell's NFL partnering.
Yeah, I'm sure this was in the works before the Super Bowl, and that's why they had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson do the intro instead of Vince McMahon or someone like that. But yeah, I really liked the intro of The Rock, and everyone that was on the field seemed very confused at what was happening at the moment. But now it all makes sense. I'm hearing that they're going to like test out video replays systems like they did with the XFL a couple of years ago before COVID. They're going to be testing out some new rules, maybe involving kickoffs and punts. So if the new rules that they have or the new officiating tactics that they have work in the XFL, they're eventually going to pluck those from the XFL and bring them to the NFL. And that is basically the collab between these two. And I'm sure that during all this, XFL players will be noticed by NFL teams, and NFL teams will sign them to their current roster or practice squad after the season's over. So this is big for football because now more players are going to have opportunities to make the NFL if they don't straight up make it to the NFL out of college.
And I think it would be cool, and it'll make the NFL more interesting with rules and gameplay, even if it's just that Pro Bowl, which is probably what I think they'll do first. I think that they'll probably change Pro Bowl rules first based off the XFL rather than day-to-day Sunday games or Thursday night or Monday night football games. That's just my personal opinion. But I'm also not really looking forward to the NFL looking at the XFL for, hey, should we implement this in our game?
No, it's a complete testing ground. It's perfect. I mean, no one's going to care about the XFL as much as they care about the NFL, but the new rules in the XFL can be implemented into the NFL eventually. So it'll make you want to watch the XFL because just to see if these plans that they have actually work out. So I think it's really good for the NFL, and it's good for the players that don't make it to the NFL immediately. And then I just think it's kind of weird that the USFL is starting right now and they chose to do this with the XFL, even though the USFL currently is more hype. So it's going to be interesting. The Rock owns the league, so you know that the league is going to be promoted to very high extents that you usually wouldn't see with the XFL or USFL. So it's going to be good. I'm going to watch the XFL this year just to see if whatever they're trying out actually makes sense.
And it'll be cool to see if there is something that fans on social media or fans, behind the scenes or anybody at the NFL level likes from the XFL. And it would be cool to see it implement. I just don't want them to change the NFL too much is what I'm saying. So
yeah,
I think there is something to gain, of course, and they're not going to throw something out there that officials don't agree with or players, team owners, most importantly, don't agree with, or, of course, the commissioner, Roger Goodell.
Well, the thing is, there's everything to gain and there's nothing to lose because they're not going to just bring something in from the XFL that people didn't like because it has to be voted on by the higher ups of the NFL, the Players Association, everybody. So whatever changes they eventually make to the NFL in regards to the implementation that they're using in the XFL, it's going to be voted on by the top people of the NFL. So it's not just going to be some stupid rules that they come up with to bring the NFL.
That clears it, or that closes out the Big Three, brought to you by Information On Demand. Check them out, informationondemand.net, for fast, accurate, affordable pre-employment background screening services. Give them a call, 855-914-4636. Simple as that, 855-914-4636. Information On Demand as they bring you our Big Three. Now transitioning into three big quarterbacks and drama surrounding the quarterbacks, the potential free agent quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson has been in the news as of late, quarterback for the Texans that's going through a lot of allegations, 22 or 23 criminal allegations. That Russell Wilson was in the news earlier today on Friday as he took out some bio information from Twitter. Aaron Rodgers could be Brett Favre 2.0, if you will, trying to drag all this attention to him. But Deshaun Watson is going to have to kick off this little quick segment here as we near the end of the show. Deshaun Watson was very good before he got in trouble. And if he was somehow able to clear all these allegations and none of it was true, more importantly, I would love for him to be on my team, especially the Buccaneers, because we do need a quarterback right now. And I would love to see it happen if he does get cleared of everything and it's all false. Both those things have to line up for me to be, let's go get him. But all of that has to happen. Plus, you have to send 5 to 7 assets, according to the Athletics. So the Texans are asking for an arm and a leg and then some for Deshaun Watson in order for you guys to get a franchise quarterback, which I understand if he's there. Actually, even if he's there and he's able to be traded right now and come in, not worry about a suspension and play right away, I don't think he's worth that much. I don't think he's worth 2 first round, 2 second, a third, and a fifth. I don't think any quarterback is worth that much.
I think it's very interesting because just a couple of years ago, you saw the Texans trade one of the best receivers in the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins, for a box of Girl Scout cookies and David Johnson, who was at the end of his prime. So it's weird that they're asking for this much, considering all of the allegations against Deshaun Watson currently. It's going to be very difficult for an NFL team to take a leap at sending 7 picks to the Texans for Watson, for a guy that may be locked up eventually if any of these allegations are true. But if they're not true, then whatever they're asking for is worth it, because Deshaun Watson is a top quarterback in the league when he's playing in the league, but we don't know if he's going to be able to play in the league, so you can't just take a leap. That's the difficult thing with this situation. I don't think that they're going to find a trade partner over this offseason.
Well, it's unrealistic. Even if he gets cleared, number one, even if he avoids a suspension, even if he's ruled, all these allegations are false or he's okay, none of this actually happened, I don't foresee a team trading that. We saw the Rams make some big trades or some big moves to get Matthew Stafford. Of course, try to bring in Von Miller, which they did, and it did work out this year. But I don't think they had to give up 5 to 7.
No.
2 first round, 2 second round, a third, a fourth, a fifth. I just don't think that any franchise with a great owner would do that, because that's too much of an asking price. You're definitely losing. You have to win now. You just don't have a quarterback.
I'm sure if Deshaun Watson didn't have these allegations, he would already have been traded for what the Texans are asking for. But with the allegations against Deshaun Watson, he's just not worth this at the moment.
So a lot of quarterback drama right now surrounding the NFL, especially with it being the offseason and guys looking to go to new teams or trying to raise their value, their contract dollar amount that they'll bring in this year because they're attracting, 7 or 8 other teams to try to hire them and bring them on to take over their organization. Aaron Rodgers is a free agent now. He's still pondering. He's still saying, hey, I'm going to come out here shortly and give you guys the latest scoop on what I'm going to do next year. I don't think that he should have
he's going to come on to the Pat McAfee show and say what he's going to do in a couple of weeks.
So it's supposedly going to be very, very soon, and it would be worth tuning into the Pat McAfee show here. On Tuesdays, right? Tuesday. So Tuesday, you got to check those out. At least check in momentarily. If it's not this Tuesday, check in the next for Aaron Rodgers' big reveal because, if I were to bet money on it, he will say it first with Pat McAfee.
Yeah, well, people are acting like he's being a drama queen right now, but before the end of the season, he said he would make his decision about what he's going to do next season just before the draft. So NFL reporters should have already known that this was going to be dragged out by Aaron Rodgers because he has potential. He could retire. He could be the highest paid quarterback in the league with the Packers, or he could go to a new team. He's got a lot of options right now, and the top 2, in my opinion, that he probably has, the ones that he holds to the highest degree, are probably staying with the Packers for $50 million a year or just retiring.
I would agree. I don't think he's going to go sign elsewhere. But my reason for thinking that this guy is a drama queen, I know we are coming up on time here near the end of the show, but Aaron Rodgers did post, 7 or 8 photos to Instagram, social media. It was he and his teammates, and then he left one where it was not him in the middle.
That was from the game whenever he had COVID. And he was showing gratitude to Devontae Adams and Randall Cobb, which he does after every season because if you watch the Pat McAfee show, you know that he has a lot of gratitude in life over the last 2 years that he's won MVP. So he does this after each season. I think the media definitely has an agenda against Aaron Rodgers over his entire career. Everything you've ever heard about him is that he doesn't talk to his family. He has bad relationships with people. He pisses off his receivers. So just only negative stuff comes out about Aaron Rodgers, but I don't believe most of the stuff that comes out about him. I think that this was just a gratitude post. In my opinion, he's either going to retire or he's going to stay with the Packers.
It'll be fun to see how it all plays out. Again, we're losing the great ones as of late. Obviously, a lot of quarterbacks have retired over the last few years. Eli Manning a few years back, Peyton Manning a few years ago, Tom Brady this year. I think he's retired, even though he never officially said it in his retirement post. I do think that he is done. And then on top of that, Big Ben, he's done. Phillip Rivers is done. Drew Brees is done. Aaron Rodgers, that last guy hanging on by a thread. And I don't think that thread's too strong. I think that, again, he's either going to come back for $50 million and play for Green Bay one more year, or he's going to retire.
Yeah, if Rodgers retires, then it's basically – I think Stafford would be one of the oldest quarterbacks starting in the NFL, and he's only 33. So that goes to show that this era of great quarterback play is about to come to an end for the NFL, and there's no good quarterbacks in this draft apparently.
And maybe Stafford at that point could maybe tack on another win and be considered great. I don't think he'll be considered a legend, but he could be considered great, especially if he got one more Super Bowl win. But one guy that is great will join us for Talk to Him Tuesday next week is Young Harris College legend, play-by-play, a broadcaster, play-by-play announcer for live streams and at games for every sport. Tommy Jenkins joins us right here. Again, Tommy Jenkins joins us right here on CCM Pod to talk about his career and his shot heard round the world. As you guys heard this call, and I'm going to give you a quick plug just mentioning it. I guess I counted my chickens before they hatched. And then the game goes the complete opposite of what he expected, and it goes everywhere. That clip goes to Fox News. That clip goes to ESPN, NBC, CBS Sports, everywhere. This guy in Young Harris, Georgia, at a Division II college goes viral for this incredible call, and we'll talk more about his career leading up to that call, how he got Young Harris Athletics on the map, because he did put athletics at Young Harris College back on the map. In fact, they had a ESPN 3 game there the very next year. Coincidence? I think that definitely set up that opportunity. And Tommy Jenkins will join us right here on the Chris Mathis podcast. Do not miss it on Tuesday. Talk to him Tuesday with Young Harris legend broadcaster Tommy Jenkins.
Yeah, Tommy Jenkins is a living legend. I mean, everyone around Young Harris College knows this guy. He is one of the most personable people you will ever meet in your entire life. He's a great dude, and he had the shot heard around the world that started the revolution. So it's going to be a very good interview with Tommy Jenkins.
And again, to give you guys backstory, I announced some games for 3 years as public address announcer for Young Harris basketball. Spencer goes to school there. He's also a play-by-play guy there now. So we all have, a connection here, great chemistry. And then this guy has a lot of success throughout his career. And one of the coolest sports moments that I've ever witnessed firsthand, his shot or his broadcast of an incredible call goes around the world. He's all over these national radio shows, TV, everything. So we'll talk with him right here on TCM Pod on Tuesday. That does it for another episode of the podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen on the ticker at TCM_pod. Any final thoughts, Spence? Any final words? Your new Twitter account.
L Savage Spence, follow it.
And that does it, guys. Talk to you Tuesday with a Talk to Him Tuesday edition of TCM Pod.